Hey everyone, Valiant Blaze here, Sole Purpose Gaming. Just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of news as far as Destiny goes. In the background, I've got Destiny playing, obviously. It's a level 22 mission, taking down Fogoth. It's pretty tough. You see us die a lot, but at the end of the day, you'll see we pull through. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about the big subject that everybody's bringing up, and that's, does Destiny suck? Alright? Now, anywhere you look, the majority of the idea behind Destiny is that it sucks, which I tell you right now, it's not true. But there are some things that some people are disappointed about, and rightfully so. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the hype behind the game. The hype behind the game, a lot of people were excited because they thought that it was gonna be a first-person MMO, which I can tell you right now, that's not what it is. But regardless of Bungie telling us over and over again that, hey, we're making a first person shooter with RPG elements, not an MMO, we still believe that it was going to be an MMO. I'm guilty of this. I sat there and I was like, oh, I'm comparing this to World of Warcraft and, Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn. Those are the two MMOs that I play. So I kept thinking, I was like, oh, well, they're probably going to have, housing for characters and, whatever. And when I was looking at other people, what other people were saying was probably going to be in the game, you get the flight travel thing. Everybody was saying that, oh yeah, you're going to be able to fly through planet to planet and you're going to control the ship. And you're probably, we saw guns on the ships, so you're probably going to be able to use those guns and be able to, do space combat. And it's going to be like Star Wars and, and they're going to keep realistic with the planets are moving and stuff, because I guess there was some kind of trailer that had like little statistics on the planets and stuff and like the rotation of the planets. I don't know what. So, the hype, a lot of people like to think, they like to ask, did it live up to the hype? In my opinion, there is no way that Destiny could have lived up to the hype. There's no way you can make a game like that at this point in time and still get your money back. All right, as far as Bungie and Activision making their money back. And like you might sit there and be like, oh, well, it's a $500 million game. That's $500 million over the span of 10 years, okay, guys? And, that's another thing about this game. A lot of people were like, oh, well, this game should be a lot better, $500 million. No. Alright? $500 million over the span of 10 years. Alright? And a lot of that has to do with marketing. And it's not just game development, right? It's, everything. So, with that in mind, this game is not actually that over the top expensive to make. Okay? Um, Another thing was it was Bungie, so that created a lot of hype right there. Bungie's new IP. They're really famous for the Halo series, although they've had other video games like Myth and whatnot. Um, but the most noticeable is Halo series. They did a fantastic job with that. So a lot of people compare this game to Halo. And how did it stack up to Halo? And you know, Bungie was trying to get away from Halo, and at one point they were actually making a third-person video game, and they sat there and went back with like, you know what? We know how to make first-person shooters, so we're going with that. And they ended up, obviously going back to first-person shooter type style, which I'm glad they did because I mean they do a fantastic job. I'll tell you this much right now: this game, as far as the mechanics of the shooting and everything, and aiming down sights, and the running, everything feels like it has weight to it. You're not just floating around. I mean, it feels great. All right, and as far as the shooter elements in it, it's all there. It just feels it's a lot of fun to play. All right, but where this game drops down is like it didn't live up to the hype, of a lot of people. And again, I say that it couldn't live up to the hype no matter what. But a lot of people don't want to accept that answer, and there was like, oh no, Bungie lied to us. Bungie, they might have exaggerated a little bit, but if you think about it, they actually did not lie. They said that, hey, there'd be things to do every single day. Well, you got your daily challenges, bam, you got things to do every single day. They said that guys would come in and out of the tower. Well, you got your I can't remember what the playlist is called, but you got that playlist that pops in and out, and and you got that Zero, I can't remember his name, the Nine. You got him popping in and out, and there's also another event coming out within the next 2 months. Queen's Bounty, I think it's called. Something about the Queen, I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, it's gonna be another event that pops in just for a little bit. Um, so the game does everything that Bungie said it would do, as far as I can tell, and you know, it does it well. It's just a few things that's missing, you know. Bungie right out the gate said that they weren't gonna have chat, or like they were gonna have chat unless you were inside of somebody's fire team. And people got upset at that when it finally came out. They said it forever now that, hey, there's not going to be party chat here unless you're in the PlayStation party chat or the person's in your fire team. And when it came out, people got furious. They're like, oh, how are you going to make a competitive shooter without chat? Which I agree. I mean, how are you going to make that? But they did tell us ahead of time that, hey, this thing wasn't going to have chat. But whatever. So, anyways, the good things about the game, though, I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. Um, the game shooting mechanics are fantastic. Um, the multiplayer is fantastic. A lot of people will sit there and be like, "Oh my gosh, multiplayer? Are you serious? It's so unbalanced." All right, check this out. So I've been a little bit on the downside as far as levels go. All right, for the game because my friends play a lot more than I do. I don't have that much free time, unfortunately, and it turns out that when I was a level 6, I could beat level 14s. When I was a level, 15, I was taking on level 20s and stuff, and I could still no problem. Like I couldn't even tell that they were higher level, except like they would use a move that they don't unlock till later or something, and that's how I would be able to tell. All right. Um, it was very, 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 very similar to fighting somebody on my own scale. So as far as being balanced goes, I think it's extremely balanced. I've never had an issue where I'm like, oh, that guy's just beating me because, he has this and this gun, man. If we had the same gun, I'd be beating. No, I've never had that situation. If somebody's beating me, it's because they're better than me. And as far as I can tell, I haven't had anybody, again, like, where I run into a situation where somebody just has a better gun and I have no chance. It just doesn't happen. So a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, this game's super unbalanced. A lot of times they suck at it, and I'm gonna say it straight up. You suck at it, people are gonna be pissed, and people are gonna be like, oh yeah, whatever, man, you suck, Valiant Blades, blah blah blah. Look, okay, this game, like although it has elements from Halo, and some people say from Call of Duty and Borderlands and stuff like that, it doesn't play like either three. It plays like its own game, especially with the mobility. Mobility is king in this game, and I've heard a few people say that already, and it's completely true. uh, and it plays like that. Now, a lot of people say that this game's unbalanced, multiplayer anyways, because like one person go invisible, like you see me right here in the footage right now, and or somebody else can blink, or somebody else can do whatever, right? Um, Being balanced doesn't mean you always have to have the same exact moves or the same skill sets. If you look at an MMO, a traditional MMO, let me tell you, there's so many different skills, so many different styles, there's so many different things that people can do to you. All right, but somehow they manage to balance that for the most part, or about as balanced as you can get. And the way they do this is that having something that can be countered by something else. All right. So if you're smart in this game, you can counter pretty much everything. Um, there's a certain way to do it. Like for instance, the super for the hunter, the blade dancer super, basically he gets a bump in defense and he runs around and he basically hacks and slash and dashes around and stuff super fast, and it looks like he's pretty much unstoppable. In one hit, one kill. That's it. Um, well, the Blade Dancer class isn't as OP'd as most people are making it seem, just because, although he does get the dance, if you're constantly jumping up and down, it does make it more difficult for the Blade Dancer to catch you, and that shock wave that he can throw out is completely useless. As long as you're jumping, you'll end up jumping right over it, and on top of all that, if you hit him with a rocket or you headshot him with a sniper, he's going down. Now, is it extremely powerful? Of course it is. But the Nova Bomb is extremely powerful and hard to avoid. The Fist of Havoc, extremely difficult to avoid. And, some people might say, oh no, but the Blade Dancer, he gets like so many kills, whatever, whenever he turns that thing on. Well, you can potentially, if you're smart about it, like if you're stupid about the Blade Dancer and you pull it out when nobody's around you, you'll be running around like aimlessly or whatever, and you might not even run into anybody, so you can potentially not even get any kills. It's like the golden gun. If you use it at the wrong time, you're gonna get kills. Now, if you go ahead and use your if you go use the Nova Bomb and you use it in a crowded area, bam, you got 4 or 5 kills right there on the spot. You know, or if you put it on a flag. So for me, to me it's not ridiculously OP. You know, it was a little bit better than maybe some of the other supers, possibly. I don't know, but I mean, it's not enough to actually, I would say, it would be broken. To be honest, I've killed people with Blade Dancer, and I don't have a huge problem with it. I mean, is it super strong? Do most people kill me with it? Yeah, they do. But that's the same thing to be said with the Nova Bomb or the Fist of Havoc or any other super. It's extremely powerful. It's meant to be. All right, and same thing with the other supers. The only way you're gonna stop them is with either a rocket launcher, move out the way, or a headshot with a sniper rifle. So, they do a very good job of balancing all the different skills, in my opinion, in this game. I've never sat there and been like, oh man, if I was a warlock, I would have killed that guy. They just killing me because he's a warlock. No, I don't feel like any class is particularly stronger than others. I feel like every single class is extremely powerful in the game. All right. Moving on from that, uh, the story is almost non-existent inside the game. I will admit that the story was terrible. It was very vague and just out there. It was very like it didn't really draw you in. You didn't get to know any of the characters in it. Um, as far as the game goes, the character, in case you guys don't know, I'm sorry, the story, in case you guys don't know, is inside the Grimoire cards. Those little cards you end up getting, and you can look them up on Bungie.net. Those, that's where the story's at right there. So if you want to know about the story, you want to know about the characters, you want to know about what's going on, you have to read that. Now, should it be like that? No, it should not. This game should have, maybe like somebody from Guardian Radio mentioned maybe you can have the Grimoire cards pop up during the loading screens or something at the bottom. I think it'd be a fantastic idea because a lot of people aren't going to sit there and unless they're diehards, they're not going to sit there and go to Bungie.net just to read a couple Grimoire cards. So the lore is fantastic if you do. If you do get a chance to read that, I mean, the story is fantastic. It's very interesting, but it just sucks that you have to read it, and it's not actually in the game, which is ridiculous. So that I'll give you. The story, not so great. But I'm going to go ahead and, I'll come back to that later, actually. So, though a lot of people say, oh yeah, it sucks. You see in the reviews, oh yeah, this game, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 or whatever. Some of the reviews are just ridiculous. Like I saw one that the PlayStation version was 1 out of 10 and the Xbox version was a 10 out of 10, which is just straight trolling. But there's some legit reviews. A couple of YouTubers that I watch and I like, and they reviewed it. And funny enough, they said something very, very funny. They said that the game has a lot of flaws. They trashed the game and said like, hey, it has this problem, the game's all screwed up. But then at the end of the day, they sat there at the end of the review, they were like, yeah, but I'm still playing and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. Now, the reason for this, the reason why the game is fun, but people are hating on it, I believe, is because they're disappointed. They thought it would be something else. They thought they were going to get their MMO, and they thought there would be a lot more to it. And there wasn't, You had a little mediocre storyline, and, it wasn't what people thought it was going to be, And Bungie did hype it up to be the greatest game ever. So because of that, people are looking at the other games they created, which is the Halo series, and they were like, hey, no, Halo had a way better story, which it did. Halo had a better story, especially I really enjoyed Halo Reach. Reach's story was amazing to me. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here because I'm about to make 2 videos because the whole 15-minute maximum. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up on part 2. Alright, this is Valiant Blaze. See you guys later.